What's good, everyone? My name is Nat Clark, and thank you all for tuning in to the first episode of the Nat Clark Show. I'm going to first give a quick introduction of myself by telling you all who I am. Once again, I am Nat Clark. I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia, which is located in the Hampton Roads area, also known as the 757. I play basketball for a small Division III school located in Lynchburg, Virginia, named Randolph College. I do play the shooting guard position, but there are some times where I run the point. From starting to play basketball at a young age, I've adapted and learned how to overcome adversity. Participating in a sport is a great tool because it teaches you how to be disciplined, work hard, and set very high goals and standards for yourself. So, with that being said, I've also been able to build relationships with people and engage in fascinating conversations about sports. My love for sports has driven me to interview athletes, capture highlights, and shoot live stream games and events to become a well rounded sports broadcaster. Using this platform of new media, I am able to express my opinions as well as hear other people's opinions about what is trending in today's sports. So let's go ahead and get started by talking about how the NBA has made a lot of player trades and contract extensions within the last few weeks. So throughout the early weeks of July, we see teams making trades of players going basically left and right in terms of finding new talent and having players get obtain more money through these new contracts. So for example, we see Rudy Gobert go from the Utah Jazz and making his taking his talents to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for some young talent. And then on the East Coast, we see DeJounte Murray get traded from the San Antonio Spurs and take his talents to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for some young, fresh talent and future first round picks. And to me, I think as a fan, we love to see these type of trades and contract extensions, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But we love to see these type of trades because it puts us on the edge of our seats as we see players go from team to team and see them get probably more playing time and more exposure than what they were getting before. But not only that, I think also as well, like we are also nervous because we don't want to see some of our favorite players leave our favorite franchises and teams. So I really think like when coming to around this time of year, it really puts fans on the edge of their seats. There have been a few star athletes that agreed to record setting deals to stay within the faces of their respective franchises. So let's go ahead and dive into that. Coming from the Phoenix Suns, we have star Devin Booker, who has agreed to a 4-year, $224 million Supermax extension. Alongside with Karl Anthony Towns, he has also agreed to a 4-year, $224 million Supermax extension for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think with both players extending their contracts within the teams that they play for, really shows the fans how much potential that they have. You know, coming back from last season, both teams did make the playoffs, and so it just shows that both of their teams are young, and they do have the potential to eventually win it all in the future. So this is the best is yet to come for both of these franchises. Moving forward, we have the young John Morant from the Minnesota Grizzlies, who has agreed to the terms of also a 4-year designated rookie extension, which is likely worth around $226 million. You know, I think that's really good for John Morant to extend his contract because the Grizzlies are a young team that has a lot of potential. You know, and I think we also got to play into the fact that seeing where this team has came from, you know, the Grizzlies were in the first round of the playoffs last year, but they got knocked out by the Utah Jazz. And so to see them make strides this year, we're able to see them make it to the second round. Now, unfortunately, they did lose to the reigning champions, the Golden State Warriors. But this team is making strides. They have a young group of guys that are up for the challenge. So the future is definitely bright for them.
And yes, lastly, we have the two-time reigning MVP, that is Nikola Jokic, who has agreed to the terms of a 5-year, $264 million supermax extension with the Denver Nuggets. Now, this is the agreed richest contract in NBA history, and so with this contract being said, it shows that he is here to stay. After seeing and hearing about some players make long-term extensions for the organizations they play for, I want to kind of touch base on the drama that has been going on in Brooklyn for quite some time. As of now, Kyrie Irving is preparing to return to the Brooklyn Nets because there is no market for him. This is something that I kind of saw coming because the Nets are going to do whatever they can to get their money's worth. Not only that, teams do not want to be a part of the drama that comes with Mr. Irving. So when we put into retrospect, though, the market should definitely be booming. I mean, because we're not just talking about an average player. We're talking about a player that puts up numbers that consist of 27 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And so we're just not talking about anybody that's like a scrub. We're not talking about anybody that's average, putting up average numbers. With that being said, we're talking about an all-star, a champion, even a future Hall of Famer. And with him having those credentials and resume that he has, teams are going to hold him to those standards, and they're going to hold him accountable for his actions. And so Harden is gone, KD wants out, and you're basically back at square one, kind of like you were in Boston. Almost slightly, but almost kind of the same situation like you were in Boston. And so all you have to do is show up. All Kyrie Irving has to do from here on out is just show up. Go to the practices. Play the games. If you can't play the games because of the mandate, then so be it. But show up for the press conferences too. All he has to do is show up. And I hope the Nets try to neutralize the situation, especially since KD is trying to get out. He's trying to get out of his contract and leave as well. But only time will tell. And so that's all I have for today, y'all. Thank you all for taking the time out your day to listen to my first episode of the Nat Clark Show. You can follow me on Instagram at NatClark25. If you have color casts, go ahead and hit that follow button for me at NatClark25. Thank you all again. Y'all stay safe and God bless.